Alright, welcome back to another Unreal Engine video. In this video, I'll be continuing the playlist and I will be showing you how to use the landscape tools. In the last video, I showed you how to use the Quixel megascan assets, which are all these rocks and stuff that you see here. What I'm interested in is in the landscape piece, which is the thing in the background. It's a relatively simple and quick tutorial. I probably will be including the water material and this dynamic grass and rock material that you're seeing over here. You can see this whole, square piece is the landmass, and I've just edited something to look like a hill, and then all these things that you see done crudely is just done with the megascan assets. Okay, and that's just meant for us to get a nice kind of view up close. It's not really meant to be zoomed out, but anyway, let's go ahead and remove all of these things and start with just an empty scene, and I'll show you how to create a landscape object. Now that I turned everything off, what you want to do is go to selection mode and go to landscape. Now before we start, there's a few things we need to do. We need to go to edit plugins. So in plugins, we need to go to Landmass, turn on Landmass, and turn on landscape patch. We won't probably be using it, but just in case something doesn't work, just make sure that's turned on. I usually turn these two on together. Okay, and then you might have to restart your Unreal Engine. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Once you go to landscape mode, so sometimes you're in selection mode, you want to go to landscape, and there's manage, sculpt, and paint. I'll cover all three, but first we want to go to manage to create an actual landscape, and we got to go to new. Here, make sure you turn enable edit layers. If you don't turn this on by accident, it's okay, we can turn it on later, it's fine, but make sure that's turned on so we can use blueprints. That's going to be something I'll be covering. And then here you'll see that there is, if I zoom out, this is a preview of our landscape, and this is 8x8. I could change it to 4x4, for example. Okay, so this is what we get with a 4x4. I'm going to keep it to an 8x8, and within each grid you'll notice that there is another set of grids. That's the 63x63 quad. You can go ahead and change that if you like, but let's just go ahead and keep it simple. The more divisions, I think the higher resolution is how it works. Okay, when you're ready, make sure to enable edit layers and then click the blue create button. Give it a second, and now you have this kind of checker tile background. I'm going to change the light so it doesn't look so weird. And once we have that set, we can go to sculpt mode. It automatically puts you in the sculpt mode, and you'll notice that now we have a landscape one. I believe that's this layer. Okay, and so now you have a few things. If I zoom out, you have sculpting. Okay, so you could sculpt a hill or something. It looks really cartoony, right? Depending on your brush size and whatnot, it could look a bit better. So let's go ahead and try smooth. Okay, if you smooth, obviously as it implies, it smooths that mass, so now you get like a softer hill. And then you have flatten, which kind of creates a plateau. Very simple stuff. You're not getting anything realistic with this. Okay, that's something that I realized. Unless, you spend a lot of time on trying to sculpt this, but I'm going to show you how to use blueprints to just kind of get something much quicker that looks more like a mountain that you might imagine. But if you scroll over these, it kind of tells you what everything is. So erosion, hydro, noise, all this is going to add detail, right? And I'm not really messing with the tool strength or brush size because I'm just going quickly and showing you the things that you have. You have brush types, okay? Keep it to default, and you can see there's a fall off. And the other thing I want to show you is ramp. Ramp is kind of cool. You could have a low point, you can have a high point, and then click enter, and then it gets you a pretty straight ramp. And then from here, you can go ahead and smooth this. And you can use ramp to do all types of weird things. Create another ramp here, and I can change the height position, click enter again. Right, I could click another ramp right here. Let's do that again. Click one right there. And here you can kind of create a mountain, right? Like I could just go again. Let's click ramp here to here, click enter. I can also change the width of this. Okay, I can go here. Well, do another one here, enter. And then I could just go and smooth this stuff out, and I could get me a little hill or something. Okay, so that's one way of using the ramp if you'd like. Again, all this kind of looks cartoony. Now, the thing I want to show you is blueprint. I think that's a bit more interesting. Now, once I select my object, you'll notice if you scroll down to landscapes, you'll have this enable edit layers. If you have this turned on, you will probably see blueprints. If you don't, then you probably will not see these blueprints, nor will you see these blueprint brushes. Okay, so I'm going to click the first one, custom brush landmass. So I'm going to select this. Okay, and when I select it, I get this pyramid. Now, this pyramid is kind of like a hill that's dynamic, okay? This is a procedurally generated hill, and so I can go ahead and I can move the hill up and down. Now, let me just show you if I deselect it. Okay, if I'm deselect it, I want to reselect it again. I want to come to this landmass, just select that, you'll see this arrow. But anyway, so this is the node point, it's like a spline. Okay, so I can go ahead and I can move these node points. Now in this version, if you could see here, I'm in landmass outline. These are all different. I'm going to stick with landmass outline at first, and what that's going to create is just kind of like this mountain hill. If you move the nodes up and down, it doesn't change anything, at least not from my understanding. To create new points, you can right click and add a spline point right here, or you can just, click A. I think there's another hotkey as well. I don't remember what it is, but here you go. You can add more spline points to change the perimeter of this object. So now we're starting to get a mountain, kind of. Now, when you click on these node points, you don't see that menu. So the easiest way to do it is just select this guy right here, and then you will see the menu properties again, and you can cap the shape. And when you cap it, it gets you a nice plateau. And I could change the fall off angle. If I change it to, let's say, 75 degrees, right? It's very, very sharp, almost 90, obviously. So let's go back to like 50 degrees. I can move this up so the mountain is higher. I can move these in if I'd like, inwards. And so beyond that, there's like fall off widths. There are some settings here. I don't really want to cover it too much because there's just a few that I use just to get started. You might as well just kind of get in here and get the hang of it. But I'm going to come down to curl noise. I think this is a kind of interesting one. So if you kind of play around with this, you're seeing that it's creating some jagged edges. Okay, it's allowing it to feel more natural. Go ahead and turn off this cap shape for a second. You can see that it's starting to look like more of a mountain that you expect in a much, much easier way than if you were to just manually try to sculpt it. So this is kind of a good way to get started. You can see that generating this pretty quickly, and then you can combine these because I can always add another one. I can add another one right here, and I could do similar things. You can see that they do combine, and then I adjust this one as well. Now, if I was to come down here, you could see that the landmass is quite big. You could just adjust it, and it's all procedurally generated here, meaning you come back and adjust these things. Okay, so here we go. And one thing I should show you is if I added that dynamic material, this looks a little bit more interesting. And let me go ahead and go to selection mode. Let me click my object. This is my landmass object, or landscape object, I should say. If I come down to landscape materials. Now, if I come here, there is a material that I did not make, but another YouTube channel by the name of Unreal Sensei made, that you should go ahead and check out their YouTube channel. Now, I'm going to select this M landscape mountain object. I'm going to try to include this in my descriptions in the YouTube video. Once I added it, you're going to notice that yours is also going to go black. And what you need to do is now go to landscape. You want to go to paint, come down here to this auto material, and then just select this create layer info. And I believe it's weight blend layer material. I think it's this. Just go ahead and save this. And once you do that, it registers the way it needs to register. And what's nice about this material is it understands vertical fall off. So when you have a vertical surface, it transforms it to a different material. It has these multiple layers. So this is like the master material layer. And then within it are these sub layers that make up the different qualities of the material. So it is dynamic and it's awesome. Now, another thing you could do, I might as well just explain it here while I'm at it. You can paint using these sub layers. Okay, so if you use a material like this that has multiple sub layers, you can go ahead and paint. You just want to go ahead and make sure, let's say I think this is mud. Go ahead, click create layer info, and then I'm gonna do the same thing, save. And now I should be able to, okay, so it's gonna give me an issue here. So if you get that weird error, just go ahead and select the substack here and then select just one of these things. It should work. I don't know why I'm having this error. I think I created multiple versions of that, so maybe there's some issue there. But in case you have that issue, you notice that I'm painting onto here. So I'm overriding kind of the auto dynamic material rule set. So I can draw over this vertical stone material, right, with this mud. And I could do the same thing with, let's say, I could just turn on the stone thing, create weighted, click saved. Whoops, I need to select it, obviously. Give it a second, and then I could just paint this stone stuff everywhere I wanted to. Okay, so that's kind of a nice use case. Obviously that looks ridiculous, but I'm just showing you that you can. That's the painting. It's pretty simple. So if you wanted to select a thing and just kind of create a path of some sort, that's a dirt path, you could do that. And then you can use the megascan assets to add more layers to this so it doesn't feel so repeatable and empty and dry. Again, the purpose of this is just to show you how to use the landmass objects. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is how to use the spline, because I think the spline is a bit more interesting than just the landmass object here. So I go back to blueprints, go to sculpt, go to blueprints, and make sure here, I'm going to go ahead and create another custom brush. Okay, I'm going to create it right here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change our landmass outline to our spline mesh. And the spline mesh is interesting because it really follows your kind of traditional idea of what you think a spline should do. And so if I select these points and I move them vertically now, it goes up and it can actually go down. which is kind of cool. And you can see now that because it's like in relationship to the other land masses, it does something kind of funky. Now, if I go ahead and I cap this, it'll take care of that weird incline that we had. And so I can go ahead and add another point. I should click into it. There we go. This, and I can move this up or I can move it down. And you can see that now you're creating a pathway into a valley of some sort. Okay. And I can add another point right here. I could just right click, add spline like I did before. Click A, just move this. Click my mass again. Here it is. Now I'm going to move this up slightly. You can see every time you get this vertical surface, you're going to get the stone face. That's just how the material is set up. And so you can get something kind of interesting really, really quickly. All right, so we got this really, really weird landmass going on. And this is all done, again, procedurally. I can turn these off, turn them on, I can turn them off. And then you can combine these with the traditional tool set. So I can come here and I can add a ramp to it, okay? I definitely could smooth this out. And maybe now I could smooth this out. Okay, yeah, now it's working. I could flatten this out. Okay, create a ridge. So now you can start combining different methods, right? Now you're combining the procedural thing with the kind of more sculpted hand method to get something a bit different. And now if you were to combine this with the megascan library assets, this would look way, way cooler. Obviously, if you come up to this kind of plus sign and then go to shapes, create a plane of some sort. I need to go back to selection mode. I'm going to take this plane and I'm going to make it really, really large. Let's just say that large. Let me just do this and then just make it very, very large. Here we go. And this is going to be my body of water. And so here, all I need to do is I need to change the type of material this is. So if I go to content, I have a set of materials. Again, I'll share this, but if I move this, it's going to give me this water surface, okay? And just to kind of explain, if I double click this material, there's a bunch of properties here that I could do to change, let's say, the tile of the ripple. I can make it bigger, I can make it smaller. I can change the speed of the ripples. And then there's a bunch of stuff in here. I don't really want to worry about opacity of the water, things like that. Again, I'm not going to worry too much about that. The other kind of cool thing is the shore color versus the, what is it called? The deep water. So I could change the shore color to something lighter. Okay, I could change it to something like really dark just to be obnoxious. So you can see you can adjust all that, which I think is kind of cool with this material. And these types of materials you can just find online. We'll try to provide this, but it's a quick way to create a little pond or a lake with your landscape. And like I said, that the next aspect to this, you just need to go to your megascans and just drop in. I have some pre-downloaded things, but you just need to drop in some of your objects. Okay, so I can go ahead and I could drop this here. And I could just make this much larger. Yeah, I might need to flatten this out. We'll try to get it into the water. And all I have to do is just kind of sprinkle this around by multiplying it by, just clicking Alt and just moving around. Again, I'm going to be really lazy about this. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show you how you could use some of the mega scans for, foregrounds of high quality, high fidelity, and the background using the landmass as just a silhouette of some sort. It's got some texture. It does the job to a certain degree. I probably would have done a better job color correcting this, making things match. It just kind of looks like a hodgepodge of random stuff. Again, that's not the point of this. The point of this is just to show you how to use the different tool sets and different combinations to get certain results, okay? So that's that. Hopefully it wasn't too difficult and you learned a thing or two. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below and see you in the next video.